In 2016, they ousted Dilma Rousseff from the Workers' Party. I was in Brazil just before that happened to give my talk. And they put in Michel Temer. And Michel Temer went in and he implemented neoliberalism. He started privatizing things, started ripping up, the social democratic programs that had been created there in Brazil. And now it's 2018. So they've had 2 years of free, of deregulation, moving toward capitalism, moving toward neoliberal free market capitalism in Brazil. And has life in Brazil gotten any better? In Argentina, the Macri government has been in there ripping apart everything Christina Kirchner did, privatizing things, signing on with the IMF. It's a mess. Inflation, all of that, right? The Macri, the Argentina, US-backed, anti-socialist, free market government has wrecked Argentina in the last few years. I don't even want to get... Honduras, since 2009, has grown to be the murder capital of the world. There's a higher murder rate than any other country in the Western Hemisphere almost, right? That since they overthrew Manuel Zelaya and brought free markets into Honduras, it's been a mess. Haiti is a free market country where things are so prosperous that people actually eat dirt mixed with oil. That's a common food that people eat in Haiti. That's how poor it is. Recently, the price of gasoline and fuel went up, and people were rioting in the streets because that was cutting into their food. They were having to choose between spending money on gasoline and food, and so there was rioting over that. Big problems all over capitalist South America, capitalist Latin America, capitalist Caribbean. Nobody ever in the U.S. media ever says that, oh, that proves capitalism is bad. However, Venezuela has problems. Oh, socialism did it. It's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Compare the way Cubans live, that's one Caribbean island, to the way Haitians live. Right? Both Caribbean islands, both, former colonies that have gotten their independence. Compare the living conditions of Haitians to the living conditions of Cubans. Right? They're making a huge deal about how they're having some shortages due to a renewed inability to import food in Cuba. I saw that. It's the news story, right? Cuba, they're having shortages on imports in Cuba. Well, lo and behold, Haitians have been starving to death and been eating dirt mixed with oil for decades. And no one goes in there and says, oh, look what capitalism has been doing to Haiti. No one says that. The double standards are ridiculous, right? You go to Honduras. Since they removed Manuel Zelaya, the highest murder rate, it's the murder capital. You can read the articles about what's been going on there. It's just horrendous stuff that's happened. But, the U.S. press doesn't blame it. And another thing that was widely unreported in U.S. media, what country had the highest rate of GDP growth of any country in the year of 2018? Any South American country in 2018. What country in South America had the highest GDP growth rate? Bolivia. Evo Morales, who is just as radical as Maduro, right? Bolivia. And no one said, oh, wow, they're having huge rates of GDP growth in Bolivia thanks to socialism. Nobody said that. They don't bother to report. U.S. media, when it comes to the issue of socialism versus capitalism, they're just lying. They cherry pick facts to fit their narrative. When Venezuela was having huge amounts of economic growth, they ignored it. When Venezuela was having hardships, they said, oh, look what happened because of socialism. Now that Bolivia is having huge amounts of economic growth, we're not hearing anything about it. But lo and behold, all over the capitalist world, we're seeing capitalist countries like Argentina, capitalist countries like Brazil, capitalist countries like Honduras, capitalist countries like Haiti, capitalist countries like Guatemala having huge problems, and no one says, oh, that's because of capitalism. They're cherry-picking facts, and they're trying to push an ideological narrative, right? The belief in capitalism, neoliberalism, they are pushing an ideological narrative, trying to basically get, people to follow this belief that if we just privatize more things, everything will be great. If we just deregulate everything, if we just let the free market operate, if we let corporations do whatever they want, it'll be a paradise. This capitalism, the unknown ideal, has never happened anywhere in the world. Capitalism has failed everywhere it's ever been tried, folks. Everywhere that they have implemented neoliberal free market reforms, the result has been people being miserable. Everything that they told you about communism is true about neoliberalism and capitalism. everything they told you about communism. It's failed everywhere it's ever been tried. It results in an authoritarian police state and dictatorships. Whenever it fails, they just say, oh, that's not real. Everywhere it's ever been tried, lo and behold, folks, everywhere it's ever been tried, you have gotten things getting worse. Now,